These are freshwater mollies bought at the pet store, but this is a saltwater tank because you can transition them into a saltwater fish. So I've got all different kinds. I've got Dalmatian. This is a creamsicle lyre-tail. That is a silver lyre-tail. That is a, I can't remember. I think it's a panda molly. I think I'm wrong. I'll have to figure that one out. Of course, that's a black molly. And that is a black lyre-tail molly. That is another Dalmatian molly. So most of these are female, and the way you can tell is this is a male right here. They're usually a little sleeker looking. This is a male. His bottom back fin is pointy, and if you can see this one right here, this is a female. She's bigger, and her bottom back fin is fanned out. That one is also, if you can see that. So pointy, fanned out. I'll let you make the decision as to whether that's significant as to the sex of the fish. Give you a hint. It is. Alright, now you notice what else is in here is hermit crabs that we brought back from the beach last September, I believe. And they are doing great. This is now December the 2nd. They have really well established themselves. You see on this rock we already have the moss type of algae growing, and they pick through that and eat. They pick through the sand. Those are artificial green plants that they pick through also. As you can see back here, this little fellow is having him a little snack. So I don't have to feed them a whole lot because a lot of it grows. I can remember what he's called in a minute. I can't remember. That's the boy, and that's the female right here. She is really, really, really big. And they're big because they are pregnant. And the reason I know that those are pregnant is because some of them recently gave birth. And they give birth to live babies, not eggs. And here are some of the babies. Let's see if I can get the light better. So the bigger ones, which are closer to the top right here, those bigger ones were born about, I think about 3 weeks ago. And those little itty bitty ones, I caught those last night. And you have to catch them fast because the parents will eat them. I know, gross. Some parents just act like they want to eat their kids, but these will actually do it. And now it looks like you got big fish in there, but that's actually just underneath. It's kind of hard to keep the net clean because, as you can see, algae grows on it. But that's actually a good thing because that's one of the baby's #1 foods is algae. So the net breeder keeps them safe. I have 7 of the larger ones that are almost ready to put into the big tank with the others because they can't fit in their mouths anymore, but I'm afraid they could still pick on them. But those little tiny babies, they're gonna need to grow a little bit, and I believe I caught 15 of those. And it was definitely different mothers having them because there are different colored babies. Some are black, some are the Dalmatian, and I know that I've got one large one right there is actually yellow, so it's going to be one of those creamsicle like that. All right, now for some fun stuff. All right, put on pause for a second. Okay, and we're back. These are pellets that are for mostly bottom feeding. Anything will eat them, but they have a strong smell to the crabs. And watch what happens when I put just a couple in the water. Watch what happens to the crabs. They are going to smell them, and they go crazy. They're like, where's the food? Put a few more in there and let them find them. So you have to have it set up, especially with a saltwater aquarium, so that the biofilter, which takes the waste from the fish and the crabs and anything like pieces of food that are left over, and it converts it into harmful ammonia, but then the ammonia is then turned into nitrate, and then nitrite, and then it's turned into nitrate, which is less harmful, less toxic, and then it becomes inert. So that's what you're working for right now. I've got just a tiny trace of ammonia. I've got a little bit more nitrate than I want in there. So I did a little cleaning yesterday, but the last thing you want to do is clean the entire aquarium, because that kills all of your good bacteria. Kind of like those of us who take probiotics. We need the good bacteria to take care of the bad. That's what happens here. So I'll show you there. This is what's called a bio wheel, and each one of those little flaps or pleats carries millions of good bacteria, beneficial bacteria, that are called aerobic, which means they are oxygen loving instead of anaerobic. Anaerobic are the ones that are not oxygen, they're not beneficial by oxygen, and those actually can be bad if you have an overgrowth of those. So the aerobic ones are the one you want. Right back in here, I have these little ceramic, I don't know what you call them, pipes, little ceramic pieces with holes in them, with lots of little holes in them. They're pumice, and so they hold lots of bacteria as well. So all of that is a biological filter. Now you can use these also with freshwater aquariums. As a matter of fact, you do have to have it with freshwater aquarium. It's just that it's a little easier to get away with not being quite so picky with freshwater, because you can just do a lot of water changes, but it is a lot of trouble. Now this right here, I'm waiting to get some replacement things so that I'm going to make my own cartridges here. These are getting kind of worn, but this system moves the most water. So what we do here is, this one is the one that's pulling most of the trash and the garbage and the from the tank, and it'll get caught in these filters, which also contain the good bacteria. But I do rinse these out about once a week, once every other week, shake them out, try to get as much of the trash part out as I can. Now these little plastic ridges are also part of the biological filter. They hold bacteria as well, and as does this. This right here, it's supposed to help it be a little bit quieter, but this, as you can see, it has little holes through it, and that right there helps have additional surfaces for the biologic filter to work. And right here is a very important part. This is the thermometer, and everybody knows how bad you feel when you have a fever. So right here we've got it right about 78, 79 degrees, which is perfect for the fish that I've got and for the crabs. Now right here is an interesting little piece. It is a UV light. It's off right now because I wouldn't want to hurt your eyes, and I don't want to have it on while I'm looking at it either. But when it's on, it's down in here like this. It's covered up. I have a cover for the filter, like that. And so all you end up seeing is just a little bit of light through these grates right here. But the UV filter kills anything that comes into presence with it. Any germ, so whether they're good or bad, it doesn't matter. If it's free floating in the water and it comes through there, it's dead. The good part of that is if you get new fish, and new fish often carry pathogens like bad bacteria. I guess they could carry maybe like a viral infection. I know they can carry ick, which is a type of parasite. Any of those that have free-floating forms of babies in the cycle of their life will go through the filter up in there to the UV filter, which is on for 6 hours a day, and it'll fry them. So those will be dead. You can leave it on all the time, but it's not really recommended to. It kind of throws things off balance, and I want some bacteria, of course, to live in the water. So let's see if there's anything else I've missed here. Oh my, this is a 13-minute video. I've never made a 13-minute video about my aquarium before. But I think it's pretty fascinating that regular mollies from your regular pet store, I transitioned them really just over a period of a couple hours. They say to do it over a couple of weeks, but then when you read up on it, there's no benefit of doing that over there is a couple hours. Mollies are from areas that have brackish water, which are in between the ocean and freshwater, like in estuaries and such. So they swim back and forth, and I have found that they actually do a whole lot better in saltwater. I have almost never been able to get a black molly, or just really any molly, to live for very long at all in a freshwater tank. And these have been in here for a couple months now. I got them right after I put the crabs in, and I just put a few in at a time. But as you can tell, I've got quite a few in there, and pretty soon we'll have quite a few more. So I probably will be finding someone to gift them to if they have a saltwater aquarium, or if not, we can transition them back to freshwater, and they can be a good pet that way as well. So, everybody ready for the test? Which is this? Is this a boy or a girl? If you said boy, you're right. Which is this, a boy or a girl? And if you said girl, you're right. My wife is probably in there laughing at me, because I am not a good narrator. But this is what I find fascinating, and it's what I enjoy. And during this pandemic, having fish, like I say, I did have a freshwater aquarium. Had really good luck, had some really wonderful fish in there, and then something got in it and just killed everything, almost everything. So we switched it out to the goldfish, which are in the tank out, and not the tank, the garden pond in the backyard. That's back there with, if you've followed any of my videos, that's where our snake lives, the big northern water snake. She lives back there and does not eat the goldfish for some reason, but so I'd taken them from out there in here, and they did great. And while we were at the beach, while I was collecting these little boogers, half of them just all of a sudden died. So my son-in-law had to come in here, and he had no idea what he signed up for when he said he would feed my fish, because he had to dish out a bunch of dead fish and get rid of them, and then put the rest of them, I just told him just to throw them in the pond, and maybe hopefully they'd make it. And every one of them did. Every one of them that lived made it. So they're happy out there in the pond. They'll, even when it freezes over, they'll still be great. They'll be there next year. But now I've got my saltwater aquarium that I haven't had in years, and I'm really pretty excited about it. I'll show you a little bit more right here. This is called hair algae, and as you can tell, it kind of looks like hair a little bit. And it's kind of cool to get some stuff growing like that, and then also the moss, because you can't just like put a bunch of ocean water in your tank, because you're going to have a lot of pollutants and a lot of problems. So I try to put maybe just a little bit so that I can get maybe some spores and such. And also the crabs, since they have their shells, they had some stuff on them as well. I mean, I didn't wash them off beforehand, before putting them in here. So that's how you get just little things growing, and I'm hoping maybe have a few things come up out of the sand before too long. So I hope you enjoyed my video. This is my enjoyment time. One thing, as you can tell, I really need is a backdrop. See that? I can't stand being able to see through it, because then you can see where I didn't clean the glass that well right there. But and that's my heater right here. It's a submersible heater that keeps it at the right temperature. But so hopefully next time I will have a backdrop and maybe a little bit more information. If you're interested and you like this, give me a thumbs up and hit subscribe, and maybe I'll have some more videos in the future. All right, have a good night.